We are live. Welcome to the Avatar Slang Podcast, your go-to destination for deep dives into the realms of fiction and all things nerdy. And I am joined by my original podcast partner, Mike. Mike Money. He's a
Prob-
nerd, but not in the traditional sense.
I was just about to say I'm probably the most least nerd person you probably ever know.
And but see, that's the thing about fandom in 2024. So in the past few years, so this is page. If I didn't get blocked from it, I would have invited you to it.
Oh
It
shoot.
was called I'll give you that story in a little bit.
Okay.
But it was called the blurred page, basically. That's what I called it. But it was really called like it had this long elaborate name, like the extraordinary journey of a black nerd.
Hmm.
And that's when I realized black nerds don't really just be into like Dragon Ball Z and like Spider-Man.
Hmm.
Usually, at least our generation, they're into like Spider-Man and Tupac.
Hmm.
Or they like Michael Jordan just as much as they like Wolverine.
Good point.
And then Nerddom is more the idea of loving something so much you try to digest, at least at some point in your life, you try to digest every form of it. Like you and Michael Jordan.
Right.
Or would that be the same thing with you and Jay-Z?
Um. Yeah, because like from my perspective, a nerd is obviously what you think of like a Steve Urkel type person,
Yeah.
someone who
Those
wears
do exist. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
who have the look, have the voice,
Hmm.
have the unique style to them. I call it unique
Hmm.
style because I'm trying to be progressive with the times. So they have like this way and look to them where
Hmm.
for me, I don't have that traditional look and feel of a nerd. But when
Hmm.
you break it down in terms of like a Jay Z nerd or a basketball nerd, yeah, I would fall into that category.
Yeah, okay. And like I said, like Quill, our other podcast friend, he
A
doesn't
music nerd.
he's a music nerd, but at the same time, he has a whole nother life that he was living with his Afro nerd friends, or what's it
Hmm.
called? The Afro Saiyans.
Shout out to them.
And they are into like I thought I was into anime.
Hmm.
I got on their page and I'm like, oh shoot, I actually don't know anything.
Hmm.
Cause it's kind of like being into hip hop. I could be into hip hop, you could be into hip hop, but what we're listening to is totally different.
Hmm.
So like when we make the jokes about you and James, we're like, oh, you're old because you talk about people from I guess you could say last decade at this point.
Maybe 2 decades.
Okay, so you talk about those people, whereas my little brother, him like in hip hop, is talking about like Playboy Cardi and Young Thug.
Hmm.
So with me and anime, I thought I was an anime fan because I like Dragon Ball Z, and they ain't been talking about Dragon Ball Z for 20 years in that group.
Hmm.
And I'm
But
like, oh wait.
and that's the beauty of art to where you can gravitate to it differently. Like we
Hmm.
have like obviously people run to me as the hub of Jay-Z. Like just
Hmm.
yesterday. Well, ever since the Puffy stuff been going on, I've been getting texts every day or I'm getting
Really?
sent stuff because they're waiting for Jay-Z's downfall.
But
So
why did they connect the two?
because they're friends. And you we live in a
Or okay,
simple
I have a real question.
Mhm.
Are they real friends or are they industry friends? Like, are they work friends?
They
Or do we not know that?
from what they say, they're as much friends as calling each other Sean. And from what Puff said, only his mother and Jay Z call him Sean. So obviously they have a real friendship. Now,
Okay.
I could be friends with you, Derek, and not know your
Mhm.
sex life,
Mhm.
which actually is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. So
I definitely don't.
so we can be friends, and I don't know what you do outside of when me and you hang up the phone or when we're not texting. You
Yeah.
could be a stone cold killer out in the streets. I really
Mhm.
don't know. I only know the version of you that I know.
Yeah.
So
Have
the
you heard that
problem,
everyone knows a different version of you? Have you ever heard that saying?
oh yeah,
Okay.
I live by that all the time. People know, like on this podcast, I'm going to be
Mhm.
with you. I'm not going to be the version that I am on um
Do you
Common
guys?
Sense podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm that's because that's a different audience, that's a different
Mhm.
mindset, and I'm not in that mindset right now. I know how to
Mhm.
code switch too.
Okay, fair.
So people hit me up saying, "Oh man, you know your boy's next. Oh man, 50 said that Where's Jay? We haven't heard from Jay. Where's your man at? Oh, he hiding. Oh, he on the plane with Puff. Maybe he's just not into that shit. I don't know though, because I really only know music making Jay Z, and
Hmm.
people don't really know how to separate that with me. They think that I care about these people's walks of life when I don't. like like people be like, how come you don't like I don't know, throw an artist out there that signed to Rock Nation. Well, why don't you like that person? He signed to Rock
Like I
Nation.
guess J. Cole or
Well, but I like J. Cole. But my thing is the Jay-Z co-sign doesn't automatically make me wanna like your stuff.
hmm.
The Paper Planes clothing line. I have a couple hats. I
Wait,
don't
who's
have
this that again?
Jay Z,
Oh shoot.
but Emery Jones like runs everything.
Who
So
is Emery Jones? Is that his friend?
his best friend, one of his best friends for a long
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So people automatically think like that's all I wear. That's what I look
Mhm.
towards. I don't wear that expensive shit.
Oh yeah, it is expensive. I don't know why I didn't know that was him, or maybe I forgot. I should
I
have knew
don't
that.
I don't wear that expensive shit. I wear Jordans, though I love Jordan.
But
That
shoes are a little different.
it is.
Shoes last longer than clothes. Well, it
It is.
depends.
But I don't like the Chicago Bulls.
Hmm.
So, like, you know what I mean? People associate you with certain stuff, and they put you in that box. Like, I had somebody. She ain't listening, but I had somebody hit me up last night, and
Hmm.
they sent me a thing where this guy, and this thing surfaces every 2 years. I swear to God, it does. Where this guy talks about how Jay Z never was the hottest person in rap
But
ever,
that was a meme a
and
couple years ago.
right, and now that's resurfacing again because
Hmm.
people are trying to prepare for the downfall of Jay Z, which I don't understand why. When one black person falls,
Hmm.
every other black person got to fall. Or we have this thing with black people where we want to see each other fall, but then we
I have
look at
another
white
question.
we look at white people as the conspirators behind all that. I'm sorry, I'm
I,
off on the tangent.
no, no, no. That's fine. Maybe the question. Maybe the point is to bring it back to the nerd thing. So people's like, how does this connect?
The,
We put things in boxes so hard that
mhm,
sometimes it doesn't like. Okay, so if I bring up Eminem
mhm.
and you say, "Give me your opinion on Eminem," you gonna respond, "Oh, what do you think of Jack Harlow? What do you think of Paul Wall?" But it's like none of those three guys are that similar.
And you're only attaching them because they're white. Like,
Yeah.
let me answer your question truthfully. Ask me my opinion on Eminem.
What's your opinion on Eminem?
I think Eminem is one of the greatest rappers to ever live. I just don't like him.
So I have a question. In regards to that, wouldn't that be you? Shoot, I have my AirPods on and someone just texted my ear, just threw me off.
And it read it to you.
It just rang really hard.
Oh, do you get sometimes the lady she talks to you in two different like words like voices sometimes?
No, I
Sometimes she
don't.
sounds like a robot. Sometimes she just sounds like a regular white
Oh,
girl.
so I do know Siri. They made her less robotic with 2 updates ago. So
Oh, okay.
maybe it's just a glitch that she reverts back to the robotic version.
The robotic version sounds funnier when she reads some of the text that you send.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
hilarious. But
But no, I took that feature off. But yeah,
gotcha.
what were we talking about? Oh,
Uh,
Eminem.
yes.
Eminem. Yeah. So with Eminem, that shows you why this is hard to say because I do think you need to stay in your lane, but I don't like saying that harshly because it's like
What do you
I don't
mean
think
by
you have to
stay
be
in
a
your lane?
um
I'm gonna help you
not
clean it up.
okay. So like, say I don't know as much about Ghostface as you,
Hmm.
but you're not going to say if I'm having a conversation with you about Ghostface, you're not going to be like, well, Derek, I know more about Ghostface than you.
Hmm.
If we're just having a conversation, I'm just going to tell you what I think artistically from what I've seen. But then once I start saying things like that just aren't that show I haven't listened to enough of him, you would tell me what I need to listen to or how I should look at it, at least from your viewpoint.
Right.
So, but as long as I'm not stepping on that, that's that's not what I mean when I say stay in your lane. It's when I say something like, uh, Jay-Z can't rap, and it's well established that I don't understand that type of music the way you do. Not me personally, I'm just saying
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah, yeah. I get what
And
you're doing.
it's like okay, for instance, we had a friend.
Yeah, I
I
was about to
told
say, bring up a real example.
Okay, I had a friend, she was you were there for this conversation. And I told her Stan Lee kind of gets too much credit sometimes from people who don't know, and it's not their fault. He's just really famous.
Like
But
Walt Disney with certain stuff.
yeah, actually, Walt Disney would be a good example, and he actually came up in that same conversation. And I'm like, Stan Lee. If I told you Stan Lee was the GOAT, you would believe it. But if I told you there's other writers that people who really read comics look at, you'd be like, oh, that makes sense because I don't read comics or I'm not even into comics. So the friend was like, why can't Stan Lee just be the GOAT? You always trying to be different. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, well, the version of X-Men that you watch on TV and the movies isn't based on Stan Lee's ideas. That's based on ideas in the 80s because Stan Lee was only a person in his impact was more in the 60s.
All right.
So I guess what I'm saying is you you should hear that background and be like, oh, he might know what he's talking about. I'm willing to just listen. And you encounter, do your research, then come back and be like, this is what I learned. You don't think you should see it like this or that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because people talk about things they don't know with the utmost confidence.
Bingo.
People talk with their chest about things when they have a bird chest. They talk about things very confidently. And that's because
Mhm,
of social media, because I've seen it
mhm.
rise the more and more that we're on social media, especially now with the TikTok era, where now when you make a video and you
Mhm.
put these pictures in line with the thoughts and patterns that you're trying to
So it looks like
create,
you researched.
right, it looks like what you're saying is gold. It's like the
Mhm.
thing with Damon Wayans that went around a couple weeks ago.
What did see? I think I missed that.
The Damon Wayans was had an affair with Claire, right?
Oh,
Claire
I
from the
did see a
show,
glimpse of that.
right? Now here's the issue, right?
Mhm.
That surfaces on Facebook. What
Mhm.
people on Facebook say is, "Oh, I did the research," and the
Mhm.
research for them is they saw a video on TikTok. But the people said on TikTok, "Well, she put it in the book." None of these niggas look, and this is why the saying is, if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book. Nothing that these niggas did, they did not read the book, and that's the problem. It was a quick research for me.
Mhm.
I didn't read the book, but I Googled free Google
Mhm.
the proper thing to Google, and it came right up. False claim that was started on social media that she put in this book. The book is about like self help, self motivation, all this stuff. It wasn't a tell all book, which
S
the the people on face see. It's kind of like whispering down the lane. If I tell you something, by the
Mhm.
time it gets to the 20th person, the story done changed 3 times, right?
Mhm.
So what happens is we create these things on
Mhm.
one social media, it bounces to others, and
Mhm.
then we create this whole narrative that we can't back up.
Mhm.
And
That's yeah.
then we look at things that are real, and then we want to say that's AI or that's fake or that they're trying to bring the person down. Like I saw people, shout out to the well, prayers and thoughts and prayers to the people out off in Baltimore for the bridge. There was
Mhm.
people saying that that was AI. It's like
Really?
you question that, but then when a Damon Wayans things comes up, you automatically believe it. Or the
So
Puff things happens, and you say, well, I don't think they found anything. How do you know? The facts of
so
nothing even came out yet.
most of this sounds like when it comes to pop culture or black celeb culture,
Mm.
I'll say black celebs because there's a lot of people we don't follow.
Hmm.
It's run by confirmation bias, and sometimes that confirmation bias goes viral.
Oh, tell me
Or
about it.
the idea of wanting clout.
That's another thing. A lot of people want a lot of people want the notoriety of things, or they want to, like you said, they want to go viral for things. So they
Mm-hmm.
put stuff out there for the conversation, but they
Yes.
don't even know what the conversation really is about. They just throw
Mm-hmm.
things out there. Like when you fools post lists, like all time lists,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, I don't know what the criteria is, but here's the list. And then when people start telling you about what's going on, when people start telling you like what they agree or disagree with, now you got an issue. How do you have an issue when you posted the list? Now you have to defend exactly what you just posted. But we live in an era now where people want to post things and they don't want to be questioned about it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be notified about anything, and they don't want to explain anything that they've said. They just want to throw stuff out there and just let it live in the universe, and nobody questions them about it. That's not what this is. You people made you people are misusing your platform. That's kind of what I'm getting to.
Mm-hmm. So the problem with this though is so with TikTok.
James is funny. I see his stuff. Shout out to James, the diddler.
Oh, let me read this to the audio audience. James Rogers from Facebook said they kicked in the dealer's door the same way Biggie drop kicked in the what door is he talking about? Biggie. When
So
did Biggie
so
kick in?
so the same day that Diddy's raid happened, it was the 27th anniversary of Life After Death album, which has the
And
song "Kicking the
I
Door."
got you. Okay. Got it.
Um, coincidence? I don't know. No, but I'll tell you. I'll say this to wrap a bow around that. Homeland Security ain't coming unless they actually have something.
Okay.
So Homeland Security ain't just your local police. It's Homeland Security, people. Do your research on that.
My cousin Doe Slanger on YouTube says social media evolved to a pseudo platform of invalid expertise.
Great way to put it. It definitely did. Shout out to your cousin.
And see, that's why I think it's hard because we're the last generation. You know what? I'll say my sister's generation. We're both born in 91. My sister's born in 97.
Shout out
She's
to
the
your
last
sister. Very nice girl.
generation who remembers the old world before the internet was prevalent. So
Hmm.
there was people who had internet in their households, but it wasn't assumed you had internet.
Right.
So
The first time I remember using the internet was Jumpstart second grade. Yeah,
but wasn't that from a CD?
it was from a CD-ROM.
Okay.
That's when we called a CD-ROM. And
Yeah, exactly.
I like I know that. Like the
Hmm.
first time I remember using the internet for real was
The
a
dial-up sounds probably.
was
Yeah.
AIM.
Okay.
And I remember I went into a basketball chat room and they was
Hmm.
posting porn links and I was confused.
And that's just that's a precursor to how it is today.
Right.
But now I was going to say that with TikTok and Facebook, a lot of garbage goes viral on Facebook. So
A lot of AI crap too.
I'll get to that in a second because that's about
Okay.
to open up a whole new world. But
Okay.
as far as the clout thing, people on Facebook they open up with okay. So you said they just misusing their platform. The thing is, Facebook and some people on Facebook and TikTok didn't have platforms. They were trying to be Facebook comedians or contrarians or whatever, and it just blew up.
You
Second to the
you know what?
pseudo.
Oh, I don't mean to interject.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's it's not a platform they had. You're the kid in homeroom standing on top of the desk.
Yeah.
You're that guy.
They just didn't expect it to spread as much as it did. Because if you ever go in the comments, like, oh, this really blew up.
Yeah, you're just a person on the megaphone standing on 52nd Street.
Yeah. And now to the TikTok is nuts. Like you can have
I
100 followers
I
and
won't go on
get
there.
1 million views. It's TikTok is that's for another day.
Okay.
But
I know nothing about it, by the way. I just know that a lot of bullshit clips that I've seen come from
mhm.
there.
So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on TikTok too. But that's why I think it's important rather than being an expert. It goes back to what we learned. It's like there are really smart people on TikTok,
Hmm.
Facebook, YouTube, anywhere. There's a lot of dumb
Podcast.
people.
Hmm.
Podcasts anywhere. The thing is, but there's dumb people on all those things too.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
have to know who's credible and try to compare it to, you gotta have a baseline for reality. And the
Right.
thing is, people don't even trust books, but the same people that don't trust books are the ones that argue doctors and engineers and stuff.
Hmm.
And then they don't have a baseline for reality, so these people will find a way to trust random TikToks just because they're offbeat. They're just because they're not the norm. Like
Or like you said, it's confirmation bias.
that's what I'm saying. The
It,
confirmation bias
as
of that
long as it
nonsense.
aligns with the thinking that you already slightly have, and
Hmm.
that throws it over the edge for you, you're going to
Hmm.
believe it, no matter if it's true or not. And a lot of the times nowadays, people don't care about the truth because the lie is more entertaining. Shout out to Charlamagne the God. That's his quote. Um,
Yeah,
when the lie is more entertaining, you don't really give a damn about the truth.
or
That's what.
comforting.
That's why people like what 50 Cent does, because he's doing it in a funny way with
Hmm.
stuff that people kind of already believe, like the
Hmm.
Illuminati stuff and the stuff about, oh, they got Puff, they're going to get Jay next. A lot of people already psychologically think these things. So
Hmm.
when someone famous now says it, they're like, oh shit, it might really be real. Because now a
Hmm.
famous person is saying it. So what I'm saying can't be bullcrap.
Hmm.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a lot of things that people take in. Like people say to you, "Well, I did my research and a lot of sources said," and you say, "Okay, who's the sources?" Oh, the Shade Room.
The thing is, Shade Room's so hit or miss because it's so they report on real stuff,
Right,
but late. So it's like you can't say the Shade Room dropped this news,
right.
or they gave you so much nonsense people are arguing about. It's like the Shade Room is basically world star hip hop in a lot of ways, right?
Media takeout stuff like
Well,
that.
Media Takeout was the absolute worst.
it,
I have that number one worst over World Star.
but the issue is people they don't care about proper research because they don't know how to do proper research.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't even know what that is,
They don't know what it is. Like
and a lot of people are lacking foundation anyway.
right. When I talk basketball with people, right? And the
Hmm.
first thing they do is they go to basketball reference and they send me a screenshot of the
Hmm.
player and his career stats. And they
Hmm.
say, well, these stats kind of look good. And it's like, okay, how are you breaking it down to yourself? Because you have to layer it, right?
Hmm.
You can't just compare. I'm trying to think of a player that was good in the 90s. You can't think
Malone.
you can't oh no, another one. Okay, Malone. You can't look at Karl Malone's stats and then compare it to Giannis's stats and say
Oh, okay. For that, you had to look at like Reggie Miller or like
you
someone whose stats aren't
you have
as
to
good.
add context because you have to know the game is different era
Hmm.
to era to era. It's not the same. You
Hmm.
cannot look at Karl Malone's stats with
Hmm.
2024 eyes. You can't do that. You already did a disservice to yourself
Hmm.
because you're not doing the proper research. You can't say, well, MJ was robbed of the MVP because Karl Malone's stats isn't as good as blah 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 now.
Hmm.
It's like, well, how come I'm trying to think of a guy that puts up stats like Karl Malone. Like, why is a Sabonis winning MVPs then? It's like the game is totally different. You can't look at it that way. Like I said,
Right.
you're already doing yourself a disservice. So when you do that with news and information, when
Hmm.
you're taking it in on just regular stuff, if you're messing up with sports, you're going to mess up with regular news, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're doing the thing that's like looked at as extracurricular stuff,
Hmm.
it's going to mess up how you really view the world. That's why
Hmm.
I hate that these people fall for these talking points from these fake sites about the man versus woman battles. That's all made up shit. Nobody really goes by any of this stuff that Cheesecake Factory isn't a real date. Who really thinks that? Nah, who really thinks
Yeah.
that?
Like
And the people
real
that
couples
tell
not really having that conversation.
we're both married men. I take my wife to Cheesecake Factory all the time. Nah,
Yeah.
and I'm married. I've
Like,
been married almost I've been married
I
almost
just
7 years.
right. It's just karma. Do you like it or not?
Right. If she
Like
likes
that's the
it, she likes
thing.
it.
Yeah.
If she don't, she don't. She don't care about the price tag. No,
Yeah. Like
no,
you making these
some
rules
women
about.
do.
Yeah.
Some women do because of lifestyle.
Hmm.
Find somebody in your lane that fit and that, like you said, the in your lane thing doesn't sound right. Find somebody that fits your lifestyle in
Mm-hmm.
your box and roll with that. The issue is y'all try to turn people who have higher standards than you and you want them to come down to your level,
Mm-hmm.
or you started the relationship here,
Mm-hmm.
but you're really here, and now you don't know how to maintain the status that you started out with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start going to Benihana and Season 52 and all these places when you really are a Chick-fil-A nigga.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's just me giving you real life game. And a lot of things, women, that Steve Harvey didn't tell you, but he kind of told you,
Steve
that
Harvey.
that men are stupid. Stop falling for men's stupid tropes, and stop falling for these talking points on Facebook.
Like I ain't gonna lie to you. I think after 2023, I think the podcasts, like those podcasts where they argue about 50-50 and
Hmm.
OnlyFans and all that,
Hmm.
I think they're under the impression that we're all stupid.
Well,
I think they're I think they call to that.
and that's sad because a lot of men are dumb, a lot of them, but a lot of men are stupid because they follow the social media wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some men don't know when they're rolling with the trends because their mind is geared towards that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some men don't realize, oh shit, I'm following a trend until the trend is over and you have to hop on another trend now.
Yeah,
Some
that's the
people
thing.
are just trendy people. Some people just live their life the same way when they was 20 to
Mm-hmm.
when they was 30, going into their 40s. That's also silly.
Yeah.
Stop being a nigga that's been the same for 20 years. You have to change something. Not only change jobs, you have to change mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change skill set. You can't be the same LeBron year 1 and year 21. You
I
don't
like that
last that
goes to
long.
basketball with you.
You don't last that long doing that. You don't last that long being reasonable doubt Jay-Z going into 444. You have to change. You have to
Mm-hmm.
evolve. You have to try something different. You have to see and meet different people. You can't just be the what's the word I'm looking for? The stubborn you,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people are just stuck in their ways because they're stubborn. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
y'all stuck in your ways because y'all stupid. A lot of y'all are stuck in your ways because y'all don't know no better. Find out which one that is and fix it.
That's fair. I mean, you always gotta self-assess.
You have to. If you don't
Okay.
self-assess, how can you sit there and judge somebody else? And that's why people be scared of judgment. People like, oh, don't judge me. It's because they're scared to judge themselves.
It's funny because someone just said to me the other day the same thing you just said. Like, you saying don't judge me, but when do you judge yourself?
I don't mind people judging me because I judge myself all the goddamn time.
Oh, I just don't care.
Well, that also,
But
but
okay,
yeah, go ahead.
let me give you.
I'm sorry, folks. I was off on a tangent.
Oh no, that's fine. That we're gonna jump into the lane you are in.
Okay,
So the running joke with Mike and the boys is that
the
Mike,
boys.
yeah, because there's a bunch of us like James, Rory, all them, Quill, is that
Shout out
Mike
to all them.
is so into basketball
Mm.
that no, you're just so into what you're into.
Hmm. I'm only
I will,
really into two things outside of like families:
okay. So what are the two things? Tell the audience.
basketball and hip hop.
Okay.
Y'all like to call me a hip hop head. I think that's doing a disservice to myself because I don't think I am.
And he's modest in that way.
Yeah,
But hold on. What was I gonna say?
basketball. I'll take that. I'll take that because I was the guy that was reading like before, like I was saying before social media. I
Mhm.
was reading all almanacs on like stats
Oh,
and stuff.
it's funny because
I was an almanac guy.
I had the Marvel almanac actually. No, an X-Men almanac.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
so it's just funny. You gravitate what you gravitate to. Earlier, my sister was like, before we had algorithms that showed you your interests,
Hmm.
you kind of create your own algorithm. Like you hung out with people who was into your stuff.
Hmm.
You took out those books. You kept those channels on because I remember when I was younger, I'm like, yo, who's watching Bravo and Oxygen? Not
Well,
knowing that people were watching these things like Survivor. I didn't know who was watching Survivor. You could have told me it was going to end soon. And they're like, oh no, this is the best season they ever had. I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
my son now says I know Daddy's watching basketball again. That's his new thing of saying.
That's funny.
Yeah, he knows that that's a thing in the house now.
Oh, just one thing to give yourself credit for liking.
What's that?
Maybe because it's not as prevalent now, but you didn't grow up on Marvel. Wait, can we talk about that status you posted years ago?
Ah, man, come on.
It's funny.
The world was different.
Well, you don't got. Can we just?
No,
Because I'm more connected to what's instant.
I want to actually talk about it so I can clean it up a little bit.
Okay, so there's this funny status. You're like, I'm not, and it's funny that you even know these things because you're like, I'm not
To
into
hate
Fantastic Four,
to
X
hate something,
Men.
to hate something, you have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
To really
although
hate something.
you don't have to like it or be into it, but you went in. But it's
Yeah,
just funny because
I
you
jumble
said
all that
all
stuff
the
with rocket
things.
power.
Yeah, you said Dragon Ball Z, Fantastic Four, Spider Man. You named all these sci-fi things and threw in rocket power.
And I said gargoyles because I never liked
Yeah.
gargoyles. Yeah.
So it's funny that you did that. But now that we talk about gargoyles for a second, you
Mhm.
liked everything on Disney Afternoon but gargoyles, right?
Yeah.
Just about.
Well, I didn't like Care Bears. That was too soft.
Wasn't it Gummy Bears on Disney?
Gummy Bears. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Gummy Bears was
Yeah, I
like
didn't.
I was into
Obviously,
that
I
one.
don't even know the name. That's how much it didn't mean anything to me.
See, I didn't know what Gummy Bears was until Disney Afternoon cartoons came back on Toon Disney.
Hmm.
So that's how I watched the Disney Afternoon cartoons. I used to kind of watch them on the first run,
Hmm.
but I was too young to remember, and I think I was already watching Power Rangers by then.
Hmm. I
But
never watched Power Rangers.
yeah, we could tell
Okay.
because
I
that's
think I
like the
said
same
that.
thing.
I think I said that in the status. I bought up. I think I said them first. Matter of
Okay,
fact.
but
Now I gotta find it.
okay. Text me if you find it, so I
Okay.
can put it on the
No,
screen.
I'm actually gonna read it.
Oh, okay,
Also.
yeah, that works then.
Yeah.
But so you weren't really into like Nick and all that, right?
Um.
Like
I
the
What did I watch on Nick? Uh. I I'll still watch Rugrats to this day.
so you were part of Rugrats craze.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
Rugrats. I liked Hey Arnold. I liked Our Real Monsters a little bit. What was the one with the clay figures? And the guy would get flushed down the toilet.
Oh, from it was on Kablam. Actually,
Kablam!
no.
I watched that,
Hmm.
but like passively. Um,
Yeah, I don't know if people ran home for Kablam or not. I don't remember because we were in
um,
like first grade.
yeah, I watched Angry Beavers. Um,
So it seems like you're bringing up all the stuff pre SpongeBob.
I actually watched SpongeBob, but that's
Okay.
because of Will. Will watched SpongeBob.
Okay.
Shout out to Will, my best friend since second grade. Um, I watched Will because I watched SpongeBob because of him, but
Okay.
that wasn't something that like I had a SpongeBob like alarm clock that
Okay.
sung the fun song. But see, that's where I stopped with SpongeBob.
Hmm.
When the fun song episode came out, I was like done after that.
So you stopped kind of early technically because we were only 11 when that came out.
Okay.
So what isn't the earliest because a lot of people stopped, but some people went to like closer to adulthood than you realize with SpongeBob.
Oh wow.
Some people went past adulthood because some people look at SpongeBob the way people look at Simpsons.
Oh, I found the post. Can I read
Okay.
it?
Yes.
Mind you, everybody, this is funny that this came out on my wedding anniversary, but but 5 years prior. So this is 21-year-old Michael Hedden, by the way.
Hmm.
Well, this is probably Mike Money right here. I'm happy that I'm not into that corny Marvel or or DC crap, and don't want to be up till 3 a.m. seeing some whack Batman movie. I guess a Batman movie just came out.
Wait, what year was
I had
this?
2012,
So Dark Knight Rises came out. So that's the third one in the Dark Knight trilogy.
which is considered like the greatest movie of all time. That's hilarious.
Yeah, like people look at like Heath Ledger gave his life to that basically.
I hated all that crapola. That's a word that my dad says because he doesn't curse. Um,
Okay.
all that crap sucked. So this is my version of not cursing, by the way. Um, how can you watch Power Rangers, Rocket Power, Pokemon, which I had the cards, and I actually watched a little bit, Mortal Kombat,
Mortal Kombat.
Gargoyle, Superman, etc. All that sucked when I was a kid. Just whack. Y'all take that crap serious too. Comic books were dumb also. That's because I wasn't a great reader. I won't be seeing that Batman or Fantastic Four. Man, please.
So can I break that down for you?
Uh-huh.
I'll be honest. I'm amazed I even know what Fantastic Four is.
I don't.
Like,
That's the funny thing. Isn't there like a rock person?
yeah.
That's all I know. But here, the comments is even funnier. Someone called me a hater, and I said, no, I'm not. I was in the DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Rugrats, Goof Troop, all that, My Brother and Me, and Kenan and Kel. That's not a great counter, Mike. That's just not. You can't say
Wait, read
that.
that list one more time.
I said, no. I was in the Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, Rugrats, Goof Troop, all that, My Brother and Me, and Kenan and Kel. That's not a good counter. Then I said I hated all that Dragon Ball Z, Yo G Man, and all that gay crap.
Yo
What the
G-Man
hell
is
is Yo
crazy.
G Man?
I don't know what that is.
I think that's supposed to be Digimon or what was the other one?
It's like the Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh! That's probably what I'm trying to say. That's probably what I'm trying to say. And my cousin commented and said, yeah, because it's not Mickey Mouse Club. I never watched Mickey Mouse Club. That was way before my era. But then one of my best friends, Brandon, said Rocket Power had nothing to do with superpowers. So yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm sorry to anybody that I ever offended with that post. I was very immature. I was 21. I just was able to drink, and knowing me at that time, I probably never even had a drink at that point. But that was stupid.
That's actually one of the funniest posts I've ever seen you post.
It's funny because I don't know. It's funny because I'm making it off a reaction off a movie that's now considered the greatest movie of all time. That's what makes it funny,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's kind of like saying LeBron sucks.
You know what? I'll give you the hip hop version of that
Okay.
because it is a trilogy. So that's like me just talking about. I'm just like, you know what? I'm a Southern guy. I like Outkast. I like Future. I like this. I don't care about that Illmatic and it was written stuff.
Yeah.
And people was just like, oh, you gotta relax. And I just don't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like everyone's correcting me, like, oh, you gotta relax. And I'm just like, I'm not into all that New York stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know. I take it back though, because obviously I'm wrong.
Well, it's not wrong or right. It's just more the theme of not understanding what you're about to walk into.
Well, I'm wrong in the sense of I said that not knowing what the hell I was talking about.
Okay, fair.
And that's kind of what social media is now. No,
Mhm.
but I think people who still talk like that
Mhm.
that are in their 30s, I think
Yeah.
you're nuts. No, but see, you have to give me some type of grace because I was 21.
Yeah.
That would kind of be my like waving of the white flag. I was 21. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about on there.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm saying it because everybody's hype about something that I'm not hype about. But if a DuckTales, when the DuckTales show came out and I was talking about that,
The
people was,
remake.
yeah, people was like, shut the hell up. Who the hell's watching that? And I'm
So
like,
it's
oh,
funny.
I guess I'll watch it in the comfort of my own home, not making
I
posts
have
about
friends who actually like that show. But that's because I know a lot of animation people.
it. Okay.
So no, like you may not know, but the 2010s has a lot of great stuff, but we're just too old to have that conversation. So
Right.
like the way we look at like the Angry Beavers and all that, they had like a real good run with animation from '09 to like 2018.
Yeah, and see, I don't
And
I
DuckTales
don't
in the middle of that.
and I don't know any of those shows except
Mhm.
the newest cartoons that I watch outside of the ones that side puts on.
Mhm.
The newest cartoons that I sat there and watched
Mhm.
was the new DuckTales and the new Tiny Toons.
Oh, okay. The new Tiny Toons is good.
But
You would like
Tiny Toons one of my favorite shows when I
no,
was
that's one of my favorites too.
yeah, when I was a kid.
Like especially doing the whole non-action thing.
Yeah.
Tiny Toons is one of my favorites. You would like see that's the thing. I think cartoons that are made now actually cater to people who are into action stuff because unfortunately you grew up in the action cartoon era,
which
the
I
sci-fi cartoon era.
which I would have never known if someone
Yeah.
didn't tell me that. I
Yeah,
just knew what
so
I
you were
liked.
basically just born in the wrong decade as far as cartoons go,
Hmm.
unless you were going to watch because all the stuff you named was right before the sci-fi boom, before the Dragon Ball Z boom and the
Right,
Justice League boom. I
right.
guess I'll call it,
Yeah.
or even the comics.
Hmm.
So, because there's stuff like there's stuff that comes out on Disney XD. You will like, I can't think of the names right now. Like you
Like
probably would like,
like Phineas and Ferb was a big show in our
mhm,
20s,
yeah.
but I've never watched Phineas and Ferb. But I know that's a
See,
thing,
you will like that show a lot
and people have
because
told me that.
yeah, you would enjoy it, especially since you like Ducktales.
Hmm.
Because to put it simply, Phineas and Ferb, Ducktales is an older and more known brand because it incorporates Donald and Scrooge.
Hmm.
But Phineas and Ferb, the way they did the dialogue, it was a little smarter.
Hmm.
Ducktales incorporated that, and that's how you got the Ducktales we got now.
And they're
So
very,
Ducktales was going to happen, but you notice how the dialogue is more modern in the newer Ducktales.
yeah.
That happened partly because of Phineas and Ferb.
And Phineas and Ferb is very popular in Disney parks also.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like a they're
Oh,
they.
Phineas and Ferb's coming back too.
Oh, okay. I understand why, because they have like Stitch is very popular in Disney parks, where
Hmm.
Lilo and Stitch the movie might not be looked at as a certain thing, but Stitch the
Hmm.
character, like
Hmm.
Winnie the Pooh the character, they're
Yeah.
like neck and neck almost.
Well, Winnie the Pooh and Stitch sell a lot of toys, and that matters
Okay,
to Disney.
right,
So,
right. Toys,
Lilo and
merch.
yeah, I think Lilo and Stitch was just part of the just benefited from Disney in the '90s, although it's not a '90s cartoon. Lilo and Stitch benefited from Disney's run.
Because
I'm about to look up what it did.
they're after the Disney Revolution, right?
Renaissance?
The Renaissance is the just the 90s. No,
Yes. Yes.
The Renaissance started with Little Mermaid, didn't it? And that's 89.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the merchandise and the home sales all happened in the '90s for
With the
Little
Michael
Mermaid.
with Michael Eisner.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Toy Story, I'm about to say it wrong. But Toy Story is considered like the best movie in the Disney Renaissance. But that
Mhm.
wasn't a real Disney movie.
You mean okay, I see what you're saying. The production company wasn't the Disney workers.
Right.
It was the Pixar workers, but Disney still owned it
Right. Because remember
because of the whole.
they had it
the-
out with Michael Eisner, and they stopped working with Disney for a few years until
mhm.
um,
Yeah,
Bob
Disney people
Iger
weren't really
bought them.
involved with that.
Right,
Yeah.
Bob Iger bought them. Then they came back
Okay. But yeah,
because Bob Iger bought them, Star Wars,
maybe Marvel.
Marvel. I think Bob Iger did all that. Oh, uh, did he do ABC or was ABC Iger? No, I mean
ABC was so long ago. I don't know. We were like five.
was ABC Michael Eisner? I think that was Bob Iger. I might be wrong though.
Well, that it depends who was around at that time because ABC happened in like '95, right?
I think that was later than that. I think it was early 2000s. Because didn't they get ABC and ESPN together? I'm uh,
Me.
I'm sorry. I'm asking you conversation we have offline on the
Yeah, which
on
is
the
fine. I
podcast.
just can't find it fast enough.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay, but so yeah, Lilo and Stitch not only did it outdo his budget because this is before Marvel, so it's like what you said, context wise, it did
Hmm.
273 million, which is a whole lot in 2000 what 1 or 2. Then it sold toys, it sold DVDs and
Hmm.
VHSs, and it had three sequels in a sequel series, like a show.
I'm trying to think of the movie that was right before it and right after. Wasn't Atlantis like right before that?
It was in that era for sure. I don't remember if it was before or after.
Okay. Because I'm trying to think of what was the big movie in or around that. It might have been Toy Story 2.
they were making a lot of movies at that point. Well, they make a lot of movies now,
Yeah,
but they were making a lot of movies.
that was like when they were still in there, when they were just throwing out bangers.
Yeah. Well, you could
So
argue that the that run literally just stopped like a couple years ago.
really, okay.
You could argue that because at one point Disney was going head to head with like actual sci-fi blockbusters like yeah, I think all the yearly Pixar movies and the yearly non-Pixar 3D movies, those were usually highly rated and did a lot.
I
Like
I have a take on that.
okay.
Pixar never made a bad movie. Though
Um
though A Good Dinosaur is looked at as their worst movie, that's
oh, you
still
mean
a
like
good
a
movie.
trash movie?
Yeah, that's still a good movie.
Okay.
A Good Dinosaur. That's a good
You
movie though.
might be right. Pixar probably has never made a trash movie.
And
When's the last time Disney did a trash movie? Like,
I would have to look. Like a solo Disney, like from Walt Disney Animation Studios Disney movie.
um,
Because a lot of the stuff they do now is incorporated with something, it's a remake of something.
well, they do at least one original movie a year, right? Or
Kind of.
every 2 years?
See now
Because
I gotta
Zootopia is
look.
not Pixar.
It's not?
Mm-mm. Because it's Disney's original team. Well, those people, the non-Pixar people working on it. So technically,
Okay.
it can't be Pixar.
Okay. Yeah. Zootopia was a really good movie.
I'm actually going to do a reel on that soon. Now I'm
That
thinking about it.
me and Noy love that movie.
That's actually my favorite modern Disney movie, I think. It might be. What's yours? Like, let's cap it to the last, we're in 2024. Yeah, let's do this exercise. In the last 10 years, what's your favorite Disney movie?
The last 10 years,
Hmm.
I like the Big Hero 6.
Okay. That's one of my
Um,
favorites.
because that's actually 2014. Is Big Hero 6 is Zootopia. I like Wreck-It Ralph too.
Oh, yeah, I like that one a lot. I like the sequel. I haven't rewatched the sequel. I watched the first one more. I liked the sequel when I first saw it.
Strange World came out in 2022. That wasn't a good movie.
Oh shoot, I forgot that happened. I didn't even watch it.
That wasn't a good movie. Every
Really?
I'm now looking at the list.
Oh, that's what I should just do. Look at the Disney list.
Home on the Range. I never saw that. That might be the only Disney movie on the list I've never saw. Treasure Planet. That was 2022. I mean 2002.
That's actually one of my favorite movies.
Atlantis. Yeah, Atlantis came out right before Lilo and Stitch, a year before, matter of fact. And Treasure Planet came out after. Okay, that's what I was thinking about. Then Brother Bear. Get the hell out of here, Brother Bear.
You didn't like Brother Bear?
No.
Don't tell
Um,
Karma that.
Dinosaur. I remember Dinosaur. Tarzan. Obviously, I remember
I
that
didn't watch Dinosaur.
because of the soundtrack. Dinosaur, I knew because they built a ride, so I wanted to see the movie before the ride.
I remember the rollout for that was big. Like they were selling like, the cups at McDonald's.
Hmm Tarzan was big. Mulan was big. Hercules was a thing. Hunchback of Notre Dame felt like that was 5 years. Um, Pocahontas, of course, that was a thing.
So
Oh,
did you?
one of the movies I think is underrated from Disney, The Rescuers Down Under. That's a good movie.
I watched that one and I don't remember it because that's the second one.
Yeah, because the first
Okay.
one is The Great Mouse Detective.
No, the Great Mouse Detective is his own thing.
What am I thinking about there?
The first one is the Rescuers.
The Rescuers, yes. You know what? I'm
I didn't
looking at
see
the
Strange
names.
World.
Oliver and Company, people our age love.
I liked Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
I used to have the VHS, I think.
Fox and the Hound, I used to like.
How was Lightyear? Because I forgot to watch it.
I thought, I said it in the moment. I don't know if I feel that way now. But I said, as far as storyline, Lightyear was the best movie in that world of Toy
Hmm.
Story,
Okay.
storyline wise. But I think Toy Story is the greatest animated film I've seen since I've been born. But I'm not a movie guy, so don't take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, I feel like all types of opinions matter.
Hmm. But I don't
You,
want to
you,
hear
you,
your opinion on Michael Jordan if you just saying it just for the hell of
well, that's a little different. I feel
it.
like,
No, I know. I'm just talking shit. I'm
and the
just
idea
talking.
of liking movies is a little bit more universal than knowing how great Jordan is. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, because people leave with feeling, right? People leave with how they feel about a person and something, and then they use that as being the greatest. Which we gotta kind of stop doing that. And that
So,
go ahead.
question
Hmm.
is it because for me, so you talk about athletes and artists a lot, like rap artists.
Hmm.
Do you think you have to go into those two things differently? Because I feel like rap is an art, whereas basketball is a sport.
See, I see the art in basketball, so it's hard for me to.
I mean, there's an art and craft to almost anything, but I
Mhm.
mean, the idea of but basketball still has an objective. At the end of the day, it's a team sport. The
Mhm.
team has to win. Usually, for your team to win, you need a star player. Michael
Yes.
Jordan is said star player.
Mhm.
Whereas with art, it's like you go to the art museum and they have a dot on the wall and call this a masterpiece, literally, or
I
you'll see purple squares
Okay.
because it's so subjective.
So when I look at like Michael Jordan mid range, pull up,
Hmm.
fadeaways, to me that's art. But that's
Hmm.
because I look at it that way. I look at it in the lens of people didn't do this before him or do this after
Hmm.
him at his position. Like YouTube don't tell the whole story for certain people with highlight
Hmm.
reels. Like with Jordan, I think YouTube just shows you the scratch surface of it, right?
Hmm.
Like on YouTube, you can just watch Michael Jordan defensive highlights and
Hmm.
you'll get 20 minutes of that. You
Hmm.
can watch Michael Jordan just fade away jump shots, 20 minutes of
Hmm.
that. Michael Jordan um, dunks, just 20 minutes of that. Michael Jordan mid-range jump shots, just 20 minutes of that.
Hmm.
All that is art, right? All that is something that you kind of can't do for everybody. Yeah, you could do crossovers with Allen Iverson, but who's really watching a highlight tape of Allen Iverson jump shots? You get what I mean?
Yeah, but so to that point, that is art within itself.
Hmm.
But the art of it, perfect example, our trucker friend said Kyrie was good because of how good it looks, which is artistic, but that doesn't make Kyrie better than Steph.
No, you just like the way it looks.
Whereas me and you, if we both paint a picture, people could objectively say who they think paint better. Now there's nothing definitive because that's just opinion. But I feel like with basketball, I feel like this is my take. I'm not trying to correct your take. My take is I think you can have a more definitive answer with basketball than you can with painting pictures or making music. Now I
There's
think sometimes it's outlandish that it could be obvious. Like clearly Whitney Houston sings better than me. Like I'm not gonna get on the mic and say, well, it's just opinion that you think Whitney sings better than me.
Mhm.
But within a certain vacuum, it becomes opinionated.
there's
Like,
n- there's no
last
real.
example, and I'll be done.
Mhm.
To some people, like of a different culture than us, like somewhere in Ontario, Canada, they probably think Celine Dion is just the same as Whitney.
Mhm.
That's more. That's where it's subjective at for me.
There's no real definitive answer on what's the greatest anyway because life evolves. So
Hmm.
it's really on. You're really only presenting the thing that you like a whole lot,
That's true,
and
actually.
you're masking that with the greatest because you only
Are
know
you
of
talking about
that.
overall
I'm
or
just
with
talking about with things that people say. Like when we point at something and say that's the greatest thing I've ever saw.
hmm
Well, that's because that's what you saw, right?
yeah,
Or when you say, like when I
but
say, Michael,
that's still a nice way to put it because some people would just say that's the greatest ever, which
th-
that's
th-
when you get in trouble.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Like I say, Michael Jordan is the greatest because that's where basketball knowledge starts for me, right?
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to knock. It's going to be hard to knock me off that square because I started there with that knowledge, right?
Mhm.
Where Jay-Z was more of I come from the era of we adopted what the generation said before me
Mhm.
when saying it's Tupac or Biggie. And then when Jay was saying, no, I'm the greatest, I was like, yeah, he is the greatest. And I kind of ran with that with him. And that's where I took that and ran with it because he said it. Now,
Mhm.
he threw that lifeline out there with I'm the greatest of all time. Like now, the difference with Jay and Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan never said that he's the greatest of all time because he says, I never got a chance to play against this person, that person,
Mhm.
which, and I'm gonna be honest because this is an honest podcast. That's one of many knocks on LeBron that I don't like that he put his neck out there and said, when I beat the Warriors in 2016, that's when I said I'm the greatest of all time. I didn't like that he self-proclaimed himself that.
Mhm.
Though I liked it when Jay did it. So I'm being a hypocrite. I'm being
But
an outwards hypocrite.
so I think it's different. I think it's different with sports though, because with sports, you can't really prove it.
Yeah,
So
you can.
it's safer to do it because there's always gonna be someone you'll never be able to play against in your prime.
That's
Like
true.
um Zion will never play Michael Jordan.
Correct.
Anthony Edwards will never play Dr. J 1-on-1.
Correct.
So you got to take these elaborate scenarios and circumstances and try to make sense of them and then try to compare. And it gets very elaborate.
Right.
Like
But then you can't do plug and play either because you can't
that's
say
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's a lot.
yeah, you can't say, well, you can't take out 2016 LeBron and put him in 1986 and think he's going to equal the same person. You have to take things out, right?
There's a lot of
So
factors that
you
change.
have to take out the medicine, the resources, and all that stuff that he's using to play 21 years in 1986. Because in 1986, if you tore your ACL, your career was over.
Yeah.
To where now you can come back in 10 months and it's like you never tore anything. I
Yeah,
remember that.
actually.
I remember microscopic surgery was a death sentence 15 years ago.
And then
That,
Amari came back and was fine.
right.
Well,
That
kind of fine.
and but that killed T Mac's career, which
Yeah.
happened in the same like window almost.
Yeah. But that's at that time, it's just it was a little bit more hit or miss. Whereas now they kind of nailed that surgery because there's a lot where they about staying in your lane. Like there's a lot that I realized I didn't know. Sorry, there's a lot I realized I didn't know as far as sports science. Where I started watching like YouTube videos on surgery, I started getting like Apple News links, and it'll be like, "Oh, the needles for surgery got so much thinner, so your recovery is better."
Hmm.
I'm just like, "Oh, that's not nothing I would have thought about." ESPN doesn't share that all the time. You have to
And
catch it like on the offbeat day. Like they'll tell you there's 4 different types of ACL tears. I didn't know that.
right, and a lot of these niggas just go to WebMD, no,
Mhm.
and they take that as a source of
But
information.
even WebMD will say this is just very generalized.
That and you know what? That was my thing on Embiid when he was out
Mhm.
2 years because of the foot. I said he'll never come back. But at that time, my only knowledge of a foot injury with a 7 footer is he'll never recover from that. I
Mhm.
never saw Embiid having this career that he did. The only people, there was only 3 people in my life that said he was going to be a top 3 player, the best center in the league. There was only 3 people.
Mhm.
And but they were saying that as Sixers homers. No, they wasn't saying it
Not with
as
facts.
right. They weren't saying it as knowledgeable people. They were saying it as Sixer homers, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of things that we say and do is
Mhm.
because we're homers, or because that's just what we want to happen. Like
Mhm.
people want J. Cole and Drake to respond to Kendrick Lamar
Hold that
because
point.
okay, I
Like, don't forget it. Don't forget it.
I'm not
Okay, because I do want to say I want to address the Jay Z thing you said quick
okay.
because we did LeBron. So
Okay.
I think with Jay Z, with like you said, there's artistry in basketball, but it is a competition first.
Hmm.
I think hip hop and art and like things like anything that could be criticized in that kind of way, whereas like there's no real objective except for pure enjoyment. Like there's no winning. Does that make sense?
I
Like there's
get you.
no point system.
Hmm.
It's just you make a
Hmm.
piece of
I get.
entertainment and people receive it. So I do think it hits different, especially since hip hop was started like a big element of hip hop was battling.
Hmm.
That essence never left. So Jay Z calling himself the GOAT. A lot of people don't like it. To be fair, a lot of people don't like it, but a
Of
lot of
course.
people love it.
Hmm.
So I think that's why it comes across differently.
And we have this thing in hip hop where we want to crown you what you are. Like Nas was crowned the golden child, so he'll kind of always have that bubble around him
Hmm.
because he's still looked at as the guy who was supposed to be the
Hmm.
guy that take hip hop to the next level, and he did that, and maybe even more to some people. I'm in the even more some people category. I
Hmm.
said that because there's certain people who think Nas will never top Illmatic, and in hip hop, we kind of always hold you to the best album that you put out. To your
Hmm.
point is in hip and basketball, we kind of hold you to your latest game
Hmm.
or your latest championship. Like that's why LeBron fans be mad that MJ fans don't talk about the Wizards, the Wizard years. There's nothing really to talk about except for he was still the man. It was just that it wasn't equaling to winning because the team around him wasn't as good.
Hmm.
Also, he got hurt in the scheme of things. Oh, I see that you put something that
Shall I
James
read
put
it?
up. Yeah, go ahead.
James Rogers from Facebook said, Jay has the right to proclaim himself as the greatest since he put that work in. Same with Nas. And
Um,
can I respond to that real quick?
mhm.
As, um, sure. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I guess I,
Oh, next,
I, I
next,
just know some
next,
people don't like it.
next. Put up what he said. His
The bigger
other.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I want to address that also.
Okay. Go for it.
I, I I'm with you on that. I understand, but I also understand why people have an issue with that. Also, people have this thing where we don't come out of the Biggie and Tupac bubble. How dare you do that? Right?
Hmm.
Is they people look at that as disrespect to where that's kind of the only genre that we do that in. Like now it's
You'd be
okay.
shocked.
Okay.
I just learned recently. No,
Oh,
that
okay.
we just do it with legends.
Got you. I,
So like Taylor Swift didn't replace anybody old, even though she outsold them.
right.
Like
I don't.
it's some,
I
I
don't
think it
think we
depends who you
should.
talk to.
I don't. I'm now in the realm where we should stop calling people the greatest. Period. Just say they're one of the best to ever do it. Stop saying they're the greatest because someone's always going to supersede somebody. It's going
So
to happen.
question, doesn't that so doesn't that counter your Jay-Z points?
It does. That's why I say I'm a hypocrite.
Okay.
But put up what
Oh,
James
I
said.
took it away by accident.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to.
You want to read it?
You read it.
Okay. You always, James Rogers from Facebook said, you always got to strive to be the best,
Correct.
especially when you put the work in.
Mhm.
Mike definitely had campaigns where he told folks he's the one,
He
but
never
he
did
put the
that.
work in. Cats
My
like Kobe, Bryant, and
no
Kareem
no
had
no
the right
no
to.
no no no. I want to stop right there.
Okay.
Michael Jordan never said that he was the one. He never did that. Never. And if
Not
you,
even figuratively.
he never said that he was the greatest of all time. Never.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I mean,
but he
but
but
he did do things like
the what he said was there's a new sheriff in town to Magic and Bird at the infamous greatest game that was ever played with the
mhm,
Dream Team. That's showcasing I'm the man in the league now. Now
mhm,
that y'all have to pass the torch to me. That's not saying
mhm,
that I'm the one all time.
mhm.
I think that's hopefully that's what James was trying to say.
See, there's
But
no way because he said strive to be the best, best now, best ever. It's hard to
okay,
know what
yeah,
he really
yeah.
meant.
But what else did he say? I'm sorry because
He
I cut you
said
off.
Kareem have cats like Kobe, Bryant, Kareem have earned their right to proclaim themselves that as well since they put the work in.
See, with Kobe, he has to share that with Duncan to me
Okay.
because yeah,
But I
Kobe
think he gladly would.
he should, and I think fans should do the same. People want see we like to do this thing where we box people into their errors, which should be true. Michael Jordan is the greatest player of the '90s. Larry Bird and Magic are the greatest players of the '80s. Boom. Now, when it comes to the 2000s, that's where people get tricky because that's where we kind of have a disagreement. Some people say because 2K did it, they say that's the Kobe era. Where I say he has to share that piece of pie with Tim Duncan
Hmm.
because Tim Duncan won just like you did in them time frames.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Like
you
both their
have to
runs of dominance basically started around the same time.
right, you have to share that. But then you'll have people come back and say, well, when we do the 2020s, now are you making LeBron share with Steph? And to me, it's kind of like you gotta have to, right?
Probably, but
But that doesn't take away from
yeah,
me that LeBron is the second greatest player to ever live. To me,
yeah,
that
but
don't take
dominating
that
an era,
away.
yeah.
Right. It it's just we haven't had a guy dominated a whole 10 years, whole 9 years like Michael Jordan did.
Hmm.
Even with taking a year, 18 months off, even
Fair.
with not winning one, two, three, four championships in that time frame.
So,
You
can I
won
speak to a?
six.
You made a point earlier that just hit me. You said only in hip hop does that matter,
Hmm.
but like the whole idea of being better than somebody. Because I'll tell you something. There's other crafts where you're right. Like they don't care if you're better. Like only we do that. Like when I say we, I talk about society and magazines and lists. And when I
Hmm.
say magazines, I'm old now. I mean like complex.com, things that used to be magazines, but now they're
Yeah.
websites.
Hmm.
Like for instance, I'm into writing. I'm into books. I don't say Stephen King's the greatest writer of all time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we don't really do that. We just say Stephen King is good at what he does. And it's interesting to go from a world where because I was very hip hop centered for a good point in my life. Like I woke up, all I did was go on complex hip hop blogs and turn on ESPN. Like literally, I'll go on the computer and then I had a wall TV and ESPN will be on. So I live in that world where all you did was rank things and argue about it in the barbershop or online.
Hmm.
But then I get into a world of writing and all that, and I'm like, oh, this is not competitive. Everyone just says you're either good or you're not. Like they try to critique you if you ask for that, but no one's really, at least in my experience, it's not the same.
Hmm.
And it's not better or worse. It's just different.
I think we spend too much time on these lists and everything. First of all, we think too hard about this stuff. Like the one list going around that people are posting. I can't
What
remember
kind of
who
list is this? Is it a hip
who
hop
made the
list?
yeah the one where Hove is one and Kendrick is two. Everybody's
Oh, that's the
mad,
same one from last year.
right? Everyone's mad
That's
that
the one
Kendrick's
where our friend said Mike was better than all of them. What's his
right.
name? Mike, the rapper.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know who that
It
is,
was a random
but
rapper.
but they said everybody's mad that Kendrick's two. It's like why don't y'all give us reasons why he's not two? Now you're all mad that he's two, and you're saying well 10 should be over 5, 6, and 7. It's like okay, tell us why Kendrick is not two. Now tell me that. It's like when people was mad at the top 75 list that Kyrie wasn't on it. Okay, tell me the player that you're taking off that they just added because you can't take off the first 50. All they did was inherit that back on. They added 15 more. So tell
Hmm.
me out of the 15 people, who are you taking off to add Kyrie?
Hmm.
That's where people go wrong. You
And Dame
being
made it too, right?
right, you being an outrage about the wrong stuff. If Kendrick is not number two, tell me who is. Now, when Kendrick has the accolades,
Hmm.
he has the achievements, he has the albums, he has all this stuff to prove that he might be top five at least. At least.
Oh, can I
So
read this? And you know
go
the
ahead.
guy who posted this?
Okay.
He's in the Facebook group.
Okay. Oh, I remember him from other stuff.
He said, we are as a culture." I didn't say his name because I'm not sure if he wants to be shouted out, but I do want to read it.
Okay. Shout out
We
to the
are
bearded one.
we are as a culture an argumentative bunch. We just rate things. I clearly don't curse. We just
Yeah.
rate things for the hell of it. There's discourse that sorry.
That
There's discourse
everyone
that everyone wants to be a part of. It just
true.
sucks when it comes to music because it's very subjective.
Boom. There's discourse that everyone wants to be a part of. That's the biggest downfall of social media. That all you niggas just want to be a part of the conversation instead of just minding your business and bowing out. Sometimes you got to just let some stuff be what it is apart from you. Stop
Hmm.
sticking your nose in every little thing. Stop giving your unthought thought out opinions on everything. Stop
Hmm.
saying stop saying that Kumo D isn't better than stop saying that Kendrick is better than Kumo D just because you only listen to Kendrick. You don't even listen to Kumo D to know what the hell what you're talking about.
And it goes both ways because the older people do it too.
Right.
They're
That
like they're like,
I
there's no way Kanye could be better than I don't know whoever from
no
back
way
then.
Kanye could be better than Cool G Rap.
Yeah,
Where okay, but you have to present the points. And once you present the points, the argument is flawed anyway. Because what are we even arguing? At the end of the day, what are we arguing? We're just arguing what we like more than the other thing. Uh,
yeah,
uh,
because
James says something that I wanted you to post up here.
it didn't pop up on my feed.
Oh, damn. And I think I can read it.
Okay.
He said he said same. Oh, he's going back to the uh, Kobe Tim Duncan thing. He said same with Tim Duncan. My point is we should celebrate all of the legends, which you do a good job of, James. Um, they all brought something to the game in terms of GOAT talk. Someone to the GOAT talk. My point is, if someone has truly earned that status, they should not be wrong for feeling as such. I'm not saying you should be wrong for feeling that way. I actually agree with you. My thing is, you can't point that out. You can't present that. If me and you are mowing a lawn, you can't tell me that you're the best lawnmower to ever live.
Hmm.
You can't tell me that. I can judge you on your lawn mowing skills, but you can't like the reason why I feel like I know basketball is because other people told me that.
Hmm.
So my pride now kicks in to where I start repeating what other people told me, right? It's
Hmm.
not a me thing. I did my own research in knowing what basketball is and knowing what hip hop is and knowing what et cetera is. I did my own research. People tell me by what I put out there to the world
So,
that
Mike, I have a question. Is this your opinion on it, or is this
yeah,
you
it's just my
speaking to the
opinion.
people that don't? Okay, okay,
It's just my opinion.
okay.
Um, what I put out there and what you give back, your response to what I put out there, it gives me a it's an evaluation on what I just said. So
Hmm.
I can't go around saying, man, I know basketball more than anybody, man. I just know
Hmm.
basketball, man. I can't do that. I don't know if I'm the best 2K player versus you if we never played.
Yeah.
But out of the people I've played, I I've been told I'm one of the best 2K players people played when I
Hmm.
was in my 2K heyday. But I would tell you, my friend Trey, me and him are neck to neck.
Hmm.
But in terms of that's in terms of competition. He's the only one where I go into every game and my palms are sweaty from the
Hmm.
joystick to where because he gives me that competitive spirit that other people don't. I'm
Hmm.
off on a tangent again. But to go back to what the homie with the beard was saying, we thrust ourselves into these things that we shouldn't thrust ourselves into all the time. Sometimes we should just sit around. I think that's also an illness, sitting around and reading comments. But sometimes educate yourself just by sitting there and reading the the dialogue of what's going on. You don't have to always jump in. That's why I don't comment in the group no more. I just don't jump into things anymore. I don't I like to learn from what's happening. I like to see what's going on. And I'm not reactive. I'm not a reactive person. That's kind of
Hmm.
why, and I want to go back to the big three thing.
Hmm.
That's why I'm not one of these people that think, oh man, J. Cole and Drake, they're on a time schedule. You got 48 hours to drop a track. No, they don't. No, no, they don't. Because Kendrick is now responding from something that happened months ago. No, with the Drake thing and the first person shooter thing, that song is months old.
Yeah, it's pretty old now.
So why does he get the grace to respond when he's ready to? But now, because y'all want to make up this so-called rap battle between the big three, now they have to respond. And these dog, um uh it took Nas 84 days to come out with Ether at the takeover.
So,
Stop giving me the bull crap. You got 7 days because
well, oh, go ahead.
when y'all get that the emotional track, you get super ugly. You get the track that everybody says, man, that shit was whack. Or you
Hmm.
get charged up right after the Meek tweets. Or you
Hmm.
get the song that um Meek dropped after back to back. You get these whack songs, these rack
Got you.
rush music. Y'all don't want that. Y'all want well thought out stuff like Kendrick did. And I don't even think Kendrick's diss was it, quote unquote diss was even that good. Y'all just like the shock value of it, like a lot of things that we like in hip hop. But you wanted to say something.
Oh no, I was going to say that's probably the issue because sometimes we don't look at these people as people who create art. Like, I mean, they are artists, but like we just look at them like sometimes it's not easy. Like I was listening to a podcast, different craft, so it's different. He wrote a book that got adapted to a movie called Ready Player One.
Hmm.
Um, this guy he worked on. Dang, I just listened to it yesterday, but he worked on a lot of things we've heard of.
Hmm.
He finally got he quit screenwriting and he became an author.
Hmm.
The book he made got turned into a movie, but the important part of this is that he made the book and he wasn't controlled by a label or capitalism or anything or fans demanding anything because they didn't even know it was coming out. You know how long it took for him to make this book?
Hello.
9 years, and it became a blockbuster hit. And do you know who made the film? Well, you probably don't know, but I'll tell you. Steven Spielberg, and that's one of the biggest directors in our life.
Hmm.
So this man took his time to make something well made, and one of the best directors of all time adapted his book into a movie. So I guess the point is we gotta stop treating these rappers like it's just a machine. Like
Right.
good stuff is made on their schedule.
Right. And
Like
people
I make
think
jokes all the time, like Kendrick don't even make music no more, but I don't actually care. Like let him make music the way he needs to.
and every time he waits and and finally gives us the music, we all like it. No,
Hmm.
because it's well thought out. The reason why
Hmm.
Drake's music comes and goes so quick is because he's putting it out so fast. It's all this
And the albums
pop
are too long. It's too much.
right. It's all this
Too much too
popcorn stuff.
fast.
It's all this popcorn stuff to where you want to be fed more because it's coming so fast. The reason why we that's why we like Kendrick's music. People don't like the years in between the music coming out, but that's because we live in
That's
the
his
era,
process.
right? We compare him to his peers, and you see Drake doing that, but him and Drake don't make the same type of music, and that's where y'all kind of misconstrue yourself. Just like J. Cole
Hmm.
makes different music from those two. J. Cole's whole
Hmm.
thing is now is I'm showing y'all I'm the best out here. Fuck them other two. Yeah, I'll go on tour with you, Drake, but I'm still better than you. That's his whole
So
spiel.
I got a question for you.
Hmm.
Um, don't most things, unless you have like a machine behind you, don't most good things take a while to be made? Like if we really think about it,
Of course.
like
Rome wasn't built in a day.
yeah, like any almost any Will Smith movie we've ever heard of took 7 years to make. We just didn't hear about it until Will Smith signed on to be the star. But
Yeah.
they usually were writing these movies for like 7 to 9 years.
Will Smith wasn't even supposed to be in Bad Boy. No, that's supposed to be Martin and Eddie Murphy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Um,
Um.
it took damn near 10 years for Disney World to be open.
Uh.
Walt
Yeah.
Disney died, and right after Disney World opened, Roy Disney died. No, like
So.
that stuff ain't easy. They went through. Walt wanted Walt Disney World to be a community. He wanted
Mm-hmm,
Epcot to be a community where people lived.
mm-hmm,
Everything was homegrown. A lot of like just Walt Disney was way ahead of his time. But the things that he was trying to create just was not feasible
doable at the
at that
time.
time. You couldn't do
Mm-hmm,
stuff that he was trying to do at that time. A lot of that stuff they're trying to do now. We're talking
mm-hmm,
50 almost 50 years later from his thought processing, not even when
mm-hmm,
the park was done in 1971, just his thought processing in 1965 and stuff like that, or
mm-hmm.
67, something like that.
Four, I think.
Yeah, a lot of that
Oh,
stuff.
shoot, it's the 60th anniversary, I
Yeah,
think.
a lot of that stuff. He was way ahead of his time. But let's say that when he died and those people actually tried to fulfill the stuff that he was trying to do, well,
Mm-hmm,
Disney World would have been failed because a lot of the stuff that he was trying to create, the world was not ready for, right?
mm-hmm.
So to bring this all back to hip hop, a lot of y'all want things that y'all are not ready for. Y'all want things from artists that they're not ready to produce, right? Y'all want things from artists because we are the consumer and we feel that the people should do right by us as consumers. But the artist is the one who has to live with the decision for the rest of their lives. We're just going to
Mm-hmm.
be like, all right, where's the next album? When's the tour? When's this? Where's
Yeah.
that? You know what I mean? We
Mm-hmm.
don't we don't really have to live with the album. It can come and go for us. Ev- ev-
So,
And
oh, go ahead.
that's like Big Step, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I see a lot of people saying like, oh, this is a mental health album, and it's going to take time, and years down the line we'll all appreciate this. You can't speak for what we're going to appreciate years down the line because mental health wasn't a thing 10 years ago. No, so you don't know what's going to be a thing 10 years from now or
Yeah,
5 years from now.
but that's where it goes to the whole it's subjective and we're all guessing thing.
Hmm.
All
Oh
right,
yeah.
so let me give you some crash course questions so the
Okay.
audience gets to know you better. Then we'll talk
All
about
right.
your brand.
All right.
All right, so favorite rapper who's not Jay-Z?
Jadakiss.
Jadakiss. Can you quickly tell us why?
Well, for one, it was my cousin. Both my cousins actually put me on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing the locks. Then, for some reason, Jadakiss just stuck out to me. I guess because of the voice.
Okay.
But then I
Okay.
remember him
Was this in
in
the 90s?
early 2000s. I remember.
Okay.
I remember him and Beanie Siegel's beef,
Okay.
and I just always gravitated towards Jada. Um,
Okay. Fair.
Jada is my favorite rapper outside of, and then it's Nas, but it's
Okay.
Jadakiss for sure.
Um, I got one for you. Favorite movie?
Um, what's funny is
Just give me
it
one and I'll pivot from
Major
that.
Pain.
But yeah, keep going. Major Pain.
Hmm.
So okay. So it's easy to say that's your favorite comedy movie then, right?
Uh-huh.
Favorite action movie.
Mm.
It can be any kind of action movie. It could be um animated one. It could be a cop one. It could be anything as long as the point is for the star to be fighting against something violently.
Mm.
Can I throw some at you
Yeah, cause
that might jog your memory? It
yeah,
might be there's I don't know if Training Day counts, but I know you're into that. I know you're
train
into Independence Day, and I know you're into Bad Boys.
it would be Training Day.
Okay.
Training Day is like my third favorite movie of all time. Major Pain, Coming to America, Training Day in Life. That's my four.
Okay, and so is that your big three in comedy?
Yeah,
The three you just named. Okay, favorite white comedy movie.
Step Brothers.
Okay, I guess I knew that. Okay, what about favorite sitcom?
This can change. It depends on how I'm feeling that
Give
day.
me two or three then. Just list them off,
M- M-
just so the audience knows you.
Martin, Fresh Prince, and uh, Jamie Foxx show.
Because you're big on Jimmy Fox, right?
I'm huge on Jamie Foxx.
He's technically a Renaissance man. Do you know
I'm
what that means?
no
So, he's he's well,
well versed in
he's well
different.
versed in a lot of things. Yes. Hmm.
Like I like Jamie Foxx the comedian. I like
Hmm.
Jamie Foxx the drama actor. I like Jamie Foxx the singer.
Hmm.
Like I'm a Jamie Foxx fan in all aspects.
Okay. Um. So I said favorite.
I
What did
try
I
to
just ask? I lost where I was at.
you asked me my favorite sitcoms.
Oh, favorite sitcoms. Okay. Um. I got a couple more. I got a couple more.
Okay.
So I guess favorite actor is Jimmy Fox too.
Jamie Foxx or Denzel?
Jimmy Fox and Denzel. Good choices. Um. Do you have a favorite white actor?
Will Ferrell by default.
Okay. Favorite singer?
Usher.
Okay. Give me two more favorite singers. Like two more you just like a lot.
Luther Vandross and Whitney Houston.
Okay. Do you have a favorite white singer or musician? If you don't have a favorite, we can spin it this way. Is there a white song or white artist you like a lot?
I like
Because I
Queen.
was, do you like Queen?
Hmm.
Okay. Because I was actually surprised you got through the Nirvana album when you sent it
I
to me
I
randomly.
love that album. I love that album.
Well, no, something crazy. When I first heard it and I first listened to it during lockdown, the
Hmm.
COVID lockdown.
Hmm.
It was just too much for me to absorb because I didn't understand. I didn't know it was that genre. I didn't know it was the louder type of rock.
Hmm. Oh
Like
shit!
it overloaded me.
I actually got a real answer. Justin Timberlake.
Oh yeah, okay,
Justin
okay.
Timberlake. I'm I'm a fan of his though. This newest album that just came out is like, Man in the Woods was terrible, but this
Which one's
past
Man in the Woods? Around what time did that come out?
couple years ago,
I
maybe
don't remember that. Then.
5 years ago, that was
So
that
that's
was
after 2020 experience.
yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was after that. Yeah,
Man in the Woods is called.
Man in the Woods. Yeah, that I didn't like that album at all.
Oh, I missed this completely.
Good. Consider yourself lucky.
Okay.
But
Um.
JT, shout out to JT, and not
Okay.
City Girls.
Okay. If you were, I'm trying to frame this question. Do you remember that one time we did the trade, the Foxy? I had to listen to Foxy Brown album,
Hmm.
and you got to watch Iron Man.
Hmm.
Would you be able to do that again?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to think of one.
Hmm.
Um,
Always.
Matter of fact, let's do one on camera real quick. Let's do a trade.
Okay.
You gotta watch Dark Knight.
I've seen Dark Knight.
You did? I thought have you?
Yeah, I just don't remember anything about it.
All right, rewatch it
Okay.
just so it can be fresh in your memory, so I can bother you about it, and give me an album you don't think I would listen to on my own.
Voodoo, D'Angelo.
You're right, because I always meant to. Is that his best album, or just the one you want me to listen to?
Arguably,
Is that the one from the early 2000s?
yeah,
Okay,
it's
I'll
his
check it
second
out.
album.
Okay, all right. I think that's a good stopping place. Oh, I also meant to show you this element that you probably didn't know.
Hmm.
You're a big Wu Tang guy, right?
Yep.
Do you know a lot of people? So do you know the whole idea of the elements of hip hop? Like it's like graffiti,
Break
MCing.
dancing, DJing.
Did you know a lot of people consider comics to be a part of that now?
Um, Hip Hop Evolution told me that.
Oh, see, I missed that part.
I think it was in there. It was on some I
Okay.
watched.
Okay. Because you might not know this, but comics and hip hop were parallel to New York culture because a lot of Marvel is New York centered, the same way
Mhm.
hip hop is. So that's why they correlate a lot. I start seeing the variant covers because like they have hip hop artists in the books. I just don't read them that much because it's too much comics to read.
Got you.
But all
Yeah.
right, I think. Before we get off, we gotta talk about your brand. So you started doing reels.
Yeah. Mike Money Experience. It was a podcast, but I don't like talking as much as I lead on.
Hmm.
Um, so I like doing the reels thing. It's pretty cool. I only talk hip hop and basketball. I don't really talk about other things because I just don't want to go down that world. Um,
I mean, that's well, you don't gotta talk about everything.
yeah, I kind of just talk about what's trendy in that moment, or what's some of the things that I just feel like talking about at that time.
Hmm.
You know, I'm giving my opinions on a lot of stuff. I mean, all of the stuff, not a lot of it, but it's fun. It's fun for me for now. I'll probably stop eventually for a little while, but the reels are fun. I remember you telling me, and a lot of people telling me they wanted me to get into the content space and really give my opinions because a lot of people do like the way I talk on podcasts, but I rather talk like this. I rather talk
Hmm.
real, and I don't have to give my comedic spill on everything because
That's fair.
that's exhausting. Making people
Hmm.
laugh is exhausting. A lot of people think it's just like I walk into a room and they're like,
Hmm.
tell a joke. It's like it's not that easy, guys. I gotta kind of like fill the room out, fill the people out. Everybody can't take the humor that I'm gonna present.
Yeah.
It's hard. Being funny is harder than people realize. People laugh at my natural way of talking. Like
Hmm.
a lot of the things that people be laughing at, I'll be like, that's what I really think. So I kind of build on that. And
Yeah.
like my,
Yeah.
my wife knows it because she knows me. So she'll be like, y'all gotta stop egging him on because now he won't stop.
Hmm.
Because once you get me started, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like I'm one of those people, it could be something serious and I'm gonna find something funny in the serious. I just can't always present it because people don't like that. No,
That makes sense. So, what made you finally start?
start the content stuff. I got
Yeah.
bored at work.
Okay.
I take walks around the parking lot like twice a day,
Hmm.
and I was like, I might as well make a reel about what I'm thinking because I have a lot of thoughts in my head when I'm
Hmm.
at work.
Hmm.
Because I listen to a lot of podcasts at work, so a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff like I hear, I be ready to react in
Hmm.
in in my head. And a lot of like I'm a person that I talk to myself sometimes to try to get the thoughts out if I'm not talking to somebody because I'm one
Yeah.
of those people I can't hold on to the thought. I have to bring it out. That's why people say I can't hold water. I'm not someone you can really tell a secret to because
Hmm.
I I'm gonna tell somebody
Hmm.
because I'm a very talkative person. I'm somebody that um when I have a thought, I like to get it out of my
Hmm.
brain. That's why I don't like having feuds with people. I like to talk it out
Yeah.
because I'm just a person. I like to express myself.
That's fair, and I think reels is a good way to do that.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and I get 90 seconds to get get a thought that I had for 2 hours out.
That's fair. I
So
mean,
it's
one
like I
day.
gotta
I
I gotta
mean,
break that down into 90 seconds. That's very hard. It's like
yeah,
making a skit. I
it
can't
is.
I can't make skits because I can't dumb down my funny into
Hmm.
something small like that. I
And is
just
that
can't
why
do
you're
it.
not into TikTok yet?
Yeah, I can't do that. I
Okay.
tried like me and my homie when we was young. I used to do like comedy mixtapes, like
Hmm.
like rap mixtapes. But that was fun because I can do my little BS rapping, but then I could
Hmm.
also at the end of it give like an open mic spiel of the thoughts in my head.
Hmm. Okay.
I probably would have been crazy by now if I didn't get a lot of that stuff off.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's kind of the underrated points of creating content or making any kind of art is that you just get it out and like a lot of people don't realize, like some people think people do things to get famous or to get big. Sometimes you just want to share it with people. Whoever sees it sees it.
That's it. I only care about the laughs of the people around me. I really don't care about people I don't
Yeah,
know and what they think
yeah.
and feel.
All right.
But I'm always open to everybody's thought process. I'll debate with anyone, even
Yeah.
though people think I like to sit there and argue with people. No, I like
Mm-hmm.
to have a real like conversation with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a naturally loud person.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but
All
I'm not
right.
gonna hold you up any longer. We've been on
No,
here.
no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I actually thought I was holding you up, to be honest.
No, no, you're not holding me up. I ain't to be
Okay.
nowhere till 3:30. But this was a great podcast. I thank you for letting me on, even though I'm not a traditional nerd. I don't wear glasses. You don't either. I don't I don't say hey dude and all that stuff. You don't either. So I'm
What?
that
You
I'm
meant
just giving
skateboarder?
yeah, I'm giving you my spiel of what I thought a nerd was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, keep going. I like
So
this segment.
so I'm kind of bringing it to say like nerds aren't what you typically think they are. Like nerds don't
Mhm.
shop at Spencer's and
Here you
Abercrombie,
go.
Abercrombie and Stitch, Abercrombie and Fitch. I said Stitch. That's Lilo.
This is the Osage talking to you because
Yeah,
that's just white people.
yeah,
Nothing to do with nerds.
you don't listen to Fallout Boys and All Falls Down and all those people. Um, but this is a great content space.
Mhm,
I like that you incorporate different people and
mhm,
incorporate different things and you're talking about it. And you're talking about your interests and not just
mhm.
what you think is like something that the audience wants to hear. You're
Yeah,
attracting to an audience that they're going to find because people are going to want to get on here and talk about the things they talk about. Like I got a homie that who has a clothing line. Like maybe he can come on here talk about his clothing line. Quote, come on here talking about how to eat and you know,
we will actually talk about like Dragon Ball Z. And you knew that,
he
but
can
if we
get
talk
on.
about wrestling, I'm a snap.
Yeah, please don't get him on here talking about wrestling.
He's gonna do
No,
it.
but I just wanted to give you your flowers and props to what you're doing. I am
Oh,
happy
thank
that
you.
I am happy that you have Mickey Mouse in the background, the most
I forgot
iconic,
you can see it.
the most iconic
We'll say
cartoon
that for
character,
next podcast.
the
I did
most
restraint.
the most iconic cartoon character of all time.
Okay, so I'll end it there, and I'll just tell the audience next time when y'all tune in, we're going to talk about Pikachu and Mickey Mouse because I think Pikachu is
Pikachu is beyond.
now bigger than Mickey Mouse. If you're doing a power ranking, obviously Mickey Mouse has it historically, but I think these days kids care about Pikachu more than Mickey Mouse.
You have to get Miss Slanger on here.
She didn't know what she was talking about. Sorry, Carmen.
You have to get her on this podcast and talk about things that happen in the ER room and debate that. I want
Oh
that.
no,
I want that to be the podcast that you waste the Mickey
she's my
Pikachu.
next guest actually.
Yeah, then talk about that.
Oh man, all right, we'll see.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I don't think she's allowed to actually.
Oh no, I was talking about Mickey more than
Oh, okay, all
anything.
right.
Yeah, not the ER. I don't want to get fired.
All right, well, that's it for the Avatar Slang podcast. Thank you for joining me, Mike.
No
Um,
problem. Anytime.
I'm
You
going
know,
to tag you in this
people
in this
say
stuff.
anytime, but I really mean it. Anytime,
Okay,
just not um when I'm at work.
I got you. We have the same schedule just about, so that
Okay.
works. All
All
right, well,
right,
I'm going to
sir.
end it there. Thanks for coming through.
No problem. Y'all enjoy, man.
All right.